All right, so have you ever, like, imagined waking up one morning and boom, you're American?
I can't say that's been a recurring dream of mine.
Okay, fair enough. But that's kind of what some folks are proposing for, well, Canada.
No, this is about former President Trump and his interesting ideas about international relations.
Exactly. We're diving into this whole Canada, the 51st state thing that Trump brought up, like, not just once, but multiple times. And it wasn't just casual talk, right?
No, reports suggest he even raised it with Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau during official meetings. It's pretty wild.
So, is he serious? Is this some kind of power play? We've got a ton of news reports and political commentary to sort through.
Absolutely, and it's important to understand why this is causing such a stir.
Hmm.
You see, the idea of one country just absorbing another goes against a fundamental principle of international law, national sovereignty.
Sovereignty.
Yeah, basically it means each country has the right to govern itself, free from outside interference.
So, like, the ultimate stay off my lawn sign for countries.
Haha, yeah, something like that. It's a big deal. And that's why Trump suggesting Canada should just become part of the US is raising so many eyebrows.
And speaking of eyebrow raising, didn't he also try to, like, buy Greenland?
He did. That was another one of those headlines that made people wonder what was going on.
Seriously, what's the connection there? Does he just want to collect countries like they're, I don't know, stamps?
Well, some analysts see these proposals as reflecting a worldview where territorial expansion and, let's say, transactional diplomacy are viewed as totally normal ways to operate on the world stage.
So basically, he might see these places as what? Ripe for the taking.
Maybe. But like we talked about with sovereignty, it's not that simple. Countries aren't just pieces on a game board you can move around.
Which is probably something Canada would be quick to point out, I'm guessing.
Definitely. The Canadian response has been very clear. They're not interested in joining the U.S. There is even a quote from Canada's finance minister, Dominic LeBlanc.
Oh, yeah. He basically said Trump's comments were no longer a joke and were meant to undermine America's closest ally.
Right. Strong words.
So it's more than just a funny headline, isn't it? There are real implications here.
Absolutely. The U.S.-Canada relationship is incredibly important, especially in terms of trade.
Oh, right. Like all that back and forth about tariffs a while back. The Financial Times, and even the New York Post were all over that.
Exactly. That kind of tension, plus this rhetoric about annexation, it really erodes trust, creates uncertainty. It ultimately hurts both economies.
Okay, so even if he can't just buy Greenland, is there like a reason he'd want to? Is it strategically important?
Good question. Some analysts think it's about resources like rare earth elements that are crucial for technology. Greenland might have a lot of those.
Ah, so valuable stuff.
Right. Others point to the Arctic region becoming more important strategically.
Because of the ice melting, right? Opening up shipping routes and stuff.
Exactly. Greenland, being the largest island in the world and smack dab in the Arctic, becomes pretty significant.
So even if these proposals are, let's face it, pretty out there, they raise some big questions.
They really do. They make you think about what drives foreign policy and how those decisions can reshape the world.
It's kind of like, are we headed towards a world where countries work together, or one where it's all about grabbing power and land?
Yeah, that's something for our listeners to consider. What kind of world do we want to live in, and what role do these kinds of actions play in shaping that future? Something to think about.
Definitely. Well, thanks for breaking all that down.
My pleasure. Always happy to dive into these complex issues.
And to our listeners, keep those questions coming. Who knows what other wild ideas we'll be unpacking next time?
And until then, stay curious.
And maybe brush up on your Canadian geography, just in case.
You never know.